Racism. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed towards someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. Or the belief that all members of each race possess characteristics, abilities, or qualities specific to that race, especially so as to distinguish it as inferior or superior to another race or races. But since racism has nothing to do with the film I'm actually talking about today, if you actually put some thought into it, Ghost in the Shell! Ghost in the Shell tells the story of a woman named the Major. Yeah, she does have another name in the film, but calling her Major is something that the film actually uses pretty well to help link her to other versions of the character, Motoko Kusanagi, from the movie, the TV shows, and the books that this film is based on. So just for simplicity's sake, let's just call her the Major like the film does most of the time. The Major is a cyborg working for a government organisation that is hunting a hacker terrorist, but along the way she might discover that a corporation is corrupt. Yeah, we've seen this before, haven't we? Chappie, Short Circuit, Die Robot. A lot of Star Trek episodes, most likely. We discover what it means to be robot, what it means to be human, and chances are a corporation is working for its own ends. Ooh! This is why money ruins everything, my friends. But with that said, one of the greatest strengths of Ghost in the Shell as a film is that it is very good at conveying these ideas. The entire film is pretty much dedicated to exploring the ideas of what it means to be human, the idea of introducing robotics into a society, what it takes away from people, despite the benefits it gives us. It does kind of lead to a sort of problem in that there isn't any real characters in this film. Pretty much everybody on screen is working to help convey the ideas that the film is trying to get across, but lack any sort of real character on their own. But they're not badly acted, so it's not like they're completely devoid of any personality, it's just that there's nothing that really stands out. I'm not marking against the film, but it's not winning any points for either. I do have a point of pointing this out, it's actually going to come into an analogy later. Also, this film's pretty as fuck. The way the film is shot and the way it handles a lot of its CG elements, it really is a marvel to behold. And it is fair to mention that quite a few of the shots are taken from the original movie, so that probably goes away to help explain why this is so good. After all, if you're going to remake a film and use a vastly inferior form of storytelling, you might as well try and incorporate a lot of the camera angles used by something which is much better. See, this is why animation is always going to be superior to live action. You just can't keep up, guys. But beyond that, there really isn't anything good I could say about the film, but there isn't really anything bad I could say about it either. The plot works fine at conveying the ideas that it's trying to get across, but it doesn't really have any depth that makes it an interesting story on its own. The characters work, and again, help convey the ideas that the film's trying to get across, but they don't really stand out either. The one thing I can mark against the film is that the second half is where it kind of starts to lose it. This is where the film stops focusing less on the interesting ideas that it was exploring up until this point, and instead tried to focus on the Major as a character and ultimately what her past is. But like I said, there isn't really much character here, so it doesn't really work. Scarlett Johansson really is playing this more as a robot, and that works for what it's supposed to be. She displays emotions when she has to, but aside from that, her kind of stoic delivery does help sell the idea that this is a woman who is questioning whether or not she's a robot or a person. But this also makes it a lot harder to become invested in her, because she really doesn't have that much charisma to draw us in. And it does get back to the central ideas that it was focusing on towards the end of the film, but by then, it's too little too late. Either focusing less on the Major as a character in her past, and more focusing on the ideas that they were looking at up until the final part of this movie, or by making the Major a much more interesting character, would have solved these problems. So let's go to the final rundown. I'm marking it that the second half of the film is where the film starts to kind of lose me. But you gotta give it credit, it does explore very interesting ideas and it does it really well. On top of that, this film is just pretty as fuck. I can't stress that enough. So it's a 6 out of 10 for me. I mean, I'm glad that I saw it, and I might even see it again, just because it does look really cool and it does have a lot of interesting ideas. The problem is that it's lacking any real sort of humanity, and that hurts it, especially when it's trying to focus more on the character. It's kind of like a shell, without a ghost. It looks nice, it does what it's supposed to, but it's lacking that humanity, and that's what the film really needed. Either humanity, or just going balls out and focusing purely on the ideas and using the plot as a vector to explore those ideas. If you're looking for a solid action film, you're not going to find it here. But for someone like me who likes watching films, actually thinking about them and deconstructing what everything's supposed to mean and really taking in the visual aspects of it, then this is a solid watch, and I recommend it for that. If you're just looking for more of a standard action film, I say go watch Power Rangers. Seriously, go watch Power Rangers, it's freaking awesome. I already said this in like 2 reviews. The point I'm trying to get across is that you should be watching Power Rangers. Also, that Ghost in the Shell is pretty good.